Hello everyone, welcome to another Power Talk with Archana. Today I have a very special guest with me, Dr. Farooq Wasil. Dr. Wasil is a part of my professional network and based in Dubai, UAE. Dr. Wasil has a long and illustrious career that spans for more than 4 decades and has carved a significant niche in the educational landscape of UAE, India, and recently in Africa. His repertoire of leadership competencies encompasses a variety of portfolios. Currently, he is the global head of Affordable Schools GEMS UAE. He is also the author of several books on early years and education. Recently, he has been awarded as the Star Leadership Global CEO and also been given the Lifetime Achievement Award by ZTV. The list is endless. Let's welcome on board Dr. Vasil. Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Thank you. Good morning, and it's nice to be on your network and get an opportunity to share, our shared belief of what education should be and what it is like today. And I'm happy, to be here to share my thoughts.
Pleasure is all ours, Dr. Vasil. Thank you so much for coming on board. Dr. Vasil, today we'll be talking about the major shift that we've seen in the past 3 months now from classroom learning to e-learning. People seem to have been embracing it not only because it's about the need of PR, the movements have been restricted, also because it's about convenience and everything is available at the click of the button. What would you like to add, and how do you see the future of this particular platform going forward?
Archana, any change is painful, and any change goes through a process. If you look at it, there are early adopters, there are late adopters, there are resistors. That's what happened to education industry. By and large, the realization of understanding that technology will pervade and become pervasive was not recognized by educators. And they also response from different countries in terms of their commitment on finances, upskilling, has been at variance, and every country is at a different point of state of readiness when it comes to integration of technology. If you look at this shift, we have been talking this shift for many, many years. When we say that, changing practice and tools of, uh, learning to align with the best of the ICT, available. We are also talking of shift from, teacher-centric to student-centric learning. We're talking of shift from, process product from product to process, like the textbooks being the only medium or the source or resource with the teacher. You cannot even, as I'm speaking in India, you can comprehend classrooms without textbooks.
Right.
Teachers are not designed or trained in a way that they can develop resource packs. So we are still driven by, that's what it says, the shift from product to the process of the learning, from teacher-centric to student-centric learning, from teachers, from greater attention on the process, not on the product, and focus on social nature of learning, not seeing, seeing individuals that are decontextualized, individuals engaging in the learning processing. Greater attention on the diversity of learners.
Right.
My time, and I'm sure that even now in many parts, the learning is didactic. There is a, one quick fix suffices everyone, without recognizing that our understanding of learning process and learners have evolved quite a lot. If you look at 200 years of learning, theories and processes, it has evolved. And today it's not one particular thing that, enables learning. There are many things that help us to learn, and our understanding is becoming more sharper. Then also, if you look at it, connecting school with the larger world, a school is not anymore a physical space. It's a virtual space. It's a learning space where at the touch of the button, your connectivity will be rest of the world, and students will have a, very enriched experience and different perspectives. What's what we call meta learning, looking at learning from nearest perspective, redefine our process of learning. So connecting school with the world beyond the classroom. So these changes were always there. It was happening, but the problem is resistance, or sometimes simple lack of understanding or a denial that this is not the way. You will find still
Right.
teachers still
Right.
believe that this is the best way. And when you ask them to buy into the change process, they're very reluctant because, adults have this fear of failure
Right.
and children don't have. Children learn because they don't have fear of failure. They don't have anything coming in their way. They are adventurous. Children learn fast. There's no fear of, fear
Right.
negates learning. And adults, we have
Absolutely.
ego, we have fear, and that negates our whole learning process. So therefore, if you look at it, COVID-19 is just a calamity for us to rationalize and realize that we should have started this process much earlier.
Right.
We had resistance in different pockets, and we have also had negligence or ignorance or non-acceptance of the fact that technology will take over. It will pervade everywhere. It will be pervasive everywhere. And then look at what's happening now. The
Right.
same teachers who were resistors or who had, let's say, shortage of skill sets had no choice but to adapt it. We don't say, whether they adopted well or not, but the change came and they have no course of action but to
Absolutely.
accept what the hard reality. Now, if as educators we embrace this change, we accept it early, and we have become early adopters, life becomes easy. Now, I'm, taking you to a real piece of thinking. Tell me, if you look at your world for the last, say, 30 years or 40 years, in which
Yeah.
way it has not changed?
Yeah.
I mean,
Correct.
significantly. Let us say we look at schools for the last 50 or 100 years. In which way they have changed?
Yeah.
So education, unfortunately, has been subjected to what's called tyranny of normal. We believe we are
Yeah.
teaching and that produces learning. There are many myths which we have. In
Yeah.
fact, this COVID-19 has made us to realize many myths about learning. When we say school is the best place to learn. Now, today, for the last many months, children are not in the school.
Right.
Are they not learning?
Yeah.
We believe teaching produces learning. There is no active classroom teaching. Are they not learning?
Yeah.
We believe we learn all the same way. That's the approach in the classroom today even. But we are individuals of different take, different nature. Each child is an institution by himself, and each child is
Absolutely.
learning his own way. Every child matters, every child counts, and job of the teacher is that every child progresses at his own or her pace. Now,
Absolutely.
our classrooms, schools, our teaching learning environment, our pedagogy, enabling this kind of thought process, these kind of, take. So these are, we have to realize that the world is significantly changed.
Yeah.
We live in the most abundant times, but also
Yes.
most uncertain times. If you
Right.
look at the innovations in the past, between one innovation and another innovation, printing press was somewhere in 1400, and then came telescope in 1600. If you look at it, 200
Right.
gap. It took radio 38 years to reach
Yeah.
50 million people. It took
Yeah.
TV 13 years, and it took Facebook 2 years. Now, people must recognize this exponential process of change. It's
Absolutely.
disrupting us on daily basis. And we must recognize that if we are not ready to disrupt the environment, we will be disrupted, and we will not be useful, and we will not be, a significant entity of that process of change.
Right. I think very well said, Dr. Vasil. You have covered so many points for all of us to reflect on. I think this situation has been quite a blessing in disguise, not only for students, but also for teachers to understand that this is the way forward and they need to adapt to this change and with their, absolutely a wholehearted affair. Effort, understand that each child is unique and has a different pace, of learning, and also give them the right to think, why, what, when, where, how, instead of just mugging and stay verbatim with whatever is being given in the textbooks. I think this has actually brought about a good change in the system as a whole, and I'm sure everybody loves it and is embracing it wholeheartedly. This is wonderful. Great. Thanks a lot for these lovely inputs, Dr. Vasil. Also tell us, with this change, we see a lot of change happening in the way students have started thinking. There has been a resistance at their end also, embracing e-learning. They're also very focused and very up for it now. But going forward, students who wanted to get admissions abroad in foreign universities. I mean, what would you like to advise them now? They're literally at the threshold of their careers, with class 12 results have not come in, their exams are still pending, but they definitely need to apply for foreign universities in times to come. They would be giving their SAT exams, lot of other preparations for IIT, JEE, medical entrances. Lot is happening in this scenario. What advice would you like to give those to these students?
Now is the time to reimagine K-12 education. We must rethink of the role of technology and digital learning. We must also be, in a position to adapt and manage the crisis, and also the digital divide, which is quite, rampant, which is quite visible.
Yes.
I keep saying it now. If right to education is a basic right, now right to internet should become one of the basic rights across,
Yes.
so that every child has access and he's not left behind. Because it's not about those elite students, it's about those who are marginalized, who have no access. And they're very bright kids. They're
Yes.
very bright kids. It is just the lack of environment that is holding them back. And we have a loss of human talent. So I think it's a high time that we as policymakers, thinkers, practicing educators start thinking around it and building pressure around it, that, schools need to change.
I think absolutely right, Dr. Vasu. Very valid point out there. Just as we have a right to freedom, right to speech, I think right to internet access also needs to be available to each and every student on this earth, because after all, everybody has the right to knowledge and education. So of course, the best of information, the best of education should, mediums of educating them should reach them, so that we have a better future, a better nation all across.
True.
Absolutely right, Dr. Vasil. I think that's a wonderful input and a lot of information for all of us to think as policymakers what can be done to make this available, and of course make it very affordable for them to reach out to these tools. Great, Dr. Vasil. What else would you like to tell? Maybe something about the parents, how they can monitor their children and how they can contribute in their success. What would you like to add to that?
Parent engagement is critical and important for for advancing the learning of children.
Yes.
And we need to redefine the contours of parent engagement, what it looks like. Parent engagement is not merely about parents coming to school, collecting the report card, attending the annual days. It's about a sustained momentum and engagement of parent with the child and the school. This is a three-legged stool, I keep saying it. It's a parent, child, and teacher. If one of them is not strong enough, it will not stand. So there has to be an organic relationship, between parent, child, and a teacher. And schools who have a significant engagement with the parents, they genuinely help children to progress and grow. And where this engagement is less, we see that it is impacting the teaching learning process and the outcomes. So schools must devise a very strong system and systemic intervention of ensuring this parent engagement. If you look at it, fortunately in COVID-19 times, parents have been made available to kids, and both parents, in fact, because we're working parents, there's a lot of pressures. Let's accept that as a reality. But, being together, this would have really got them to some realization how it really makes an impact on the children when we share their journey, when we share their learning, when we share their concerns and their stresses. The flip side is that the physical proximity of both parents would have also annoyed our teenagers. Too much of observation, too much of micromanagement. But the good thing is that this would have really opened the doors to an understanding for the parents, how it helps to be engaged with the school teachers and with the children, and how it helps them to move forward in their lives. And then I think we're blessed. Those who have children, they're blessed. I always say, you must. They say that it's nice, and then God has blessed you with something which you must celebrate, and therefore this celebration must take different, manifestations. So I think COVID would have certainly brought this realization that parent engagement remains central to teaching and learning process, to the success of schools and the success of learning. So they must stay engaged. They must stay engaged. It's very, very important. And post this, in fact, schools must come up with some kind of protocols, in some kind of systemic transformation in ensuring that parents are heavily and actually engaged.
Yeah. Quite right, very rightly said, Dr. Vasil. I think it's very important, and all of us have seen a sea change in the relationship the children and the parents share today, because they all have been in close proximity with each other during the pandemic. We all have seen and gone through. Yes, definitely, there is a lot of involvement right from the parents' side, and also in the the students, the children as such. They have also been very interactive because of this situation, and they've enjoyed, I'm sure all of us have really enjoyed this coming together. It's been a collaboration, one of its kind, and I'm sure it's going to give not only emotional and mental well-being. It's going to contribute a great deal in the way children shape up. Because of this, I think this is a very good improvement that has happened. Great, thank you so much, Dr. Vasil, for coming on board and speaking to our viewers, and enlightening us on these very valid points. Thanks a lot for sharing your information and your knowledge and experience with all of us. Thanks a lot for coming, Dr. Vasil.
I think
Thanks a lot.
the last thought from my side will be that,
Yeah.
if education is a preparation for life, then all life has to be education oriented, and all education has to be life oriented. And education is not about rudimentaries of learning subjects or having a job. You see, we live in the most abundant times today.
Yeah.
Because of the innovation and the change, one person has a power to influence.
Yeah.
We must recognize what kind of times we are living in. And also our education must now aim at not only helping us realize those Maslow's hierarchy of basic needs, we must have a higher purpose for learning. So the school curriculum must be embedded with this structure where we produce children who have empathy, who have patience and tolerance, who have understanding, because those are important traits for future. This COVID-19 has opened doors to develop a parallel curriculum on this.
Absolutely.
We must not, when we engage with children, say, what's your major? We should say, what's your mission? Learning moves beyond, the earning of your means.
Yeah.
The greater purpose of learning is to be more humanistic in our approach. Yes. If we want to build a world which is based on compassion, understanding, and where the values of sharing, caring are taught, then it has to be embedded in the curriculum from the day one. We must, what you call Baldoni's, hierarchy of purpose.
Yeah.
When I keep giving an example, when you cut an apple and show it to students, what do you see? Most of the times you will get an answer, we see the seeds. But we must create an abundance mindset, we see more apples there. So if we definitely have embedded curriculum where the purpose of life and purpose of living gets defined, these uncertain times will not bother them or disturb them anymore, because then they know how to engage. I think let's hope and pray that in this adversity, there was a great opportunity and learning for all of us, for educators, for parents, for those people. You see how the world of work is disrupted. You look at these migrant workers. There are a lot many changes, technology and innovation, social and demography, world of work, education. Many things are changing and many things will keep changing. So I keep saying it. If your learning is greater than the rate of change outside the environment, you're going to stay and be relevant. The moment your rate of learning becomes less than the rate of change of external environment, you're not relevant. You will perish, and they will be very unkind to you. So hope and pray that this will show us the way forward, and we will start genuinely thinking of making a change in our approach and understanding what a good education will look like post COVID-19. Thank you, Archana. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vasil, for your wise words. I'm sure this is going to help a lot of people think and introspect and take the right decisions going forward. Thank you so much. Absolute
Thank
pleasure
you.
having you, sir.
Thank you. God bless.
Thank you. That was Dr. Vasil for you. He has left all of us with a very valid question. If our learning supersedes the changes in our environment, it's great. If not, then it's time to think and rethink. He has also put forward a very important thought. It just as we have the right to speech and right to freedom, each and every student, each and every child across the globe, in whatever interior part of the world the child be in, should have right to access to internet. The e-learning platforms is the way forward and should be made available to everyone. Thanking the entire teaching community who made themselves available during these tough times to make e-learning available to all the students pursuing their higher educational goals. May this new change in the shift in the education system brings laurels to all of us and makes our life much more easy. Wishing you all the best and stay tuned for more.